This one looks pretty tough.
Today's headlines were brought to you by Prem. Prem, the other New Vegas. Gonna play a song for you right now, and it's about that special someone you find
Was that all?
You saw me standing alone, without a dream in my heart, without a love of my own. Blue moon, you knew just what I was there for. You heard me saying a prayer for someone I really could care for.
Time to
And then
fight.
there suddenly appeared before me the only one my arms will hold. I heard somebody whisper, please adore me. And when I looked, the moon had turned to gold. Blue moon, now I'm no longer alone, without a dream in my heart, without a love of my own. And then there suddenly appeared before me the only one my arms. I heard somebody
Fighting
whisper,
over.
please adore me. And when I looked, the moon had turned to gold. Blue moon, now I'm no longer alone, without a dream in my heart, without a love of my own. Blue moon, now I'm no longer alone, without a dream in my heart, without a love of my own.
It's Mr. New Vegas letting you know I've got a new Christmas compilation coming out soon. Nuclear Winter Wonderland. Look for it on holiday. What do you know what that means, folks?
This one looks pretty tough.
There's word in from Camp McCarran that an attempt to bomb its final alert civilian contractor. Security is combat readiness evaluation. Coming up, talking about the greatest in the world. Sure is. Dino, it sure is.
Like the fella once said, ain't that a kick in the head? The room was completely black. I hugged her and she hugged back. Like the sailor said, quote, ain't that a hole in the boat? My head keeps spinning. I go to sleep and keep grinning. If this is just the beginning, my life is gonna be beautiful. I've sunshine enough to spread. Fella said, tell me quick, ain't love a kick in the head? Like the fellow once said, ain't that a kick in the head? Like the sailor said, quote, ain't that a hole in a boat? My head keeps spinning, I go to sleep and keep grinning. If this is just the beginning, my life is gonna be beautiful. She's telling me we'll be wet. She's picked out a king-size bed. I couldn't feel any better or understand. Tell me quick, oh now have a kick. Tell me quick, ain't have a kick in the head.
That guy's doctor.
The women of New Vegas ask me a lot if there's a Mrs. New Vegas. Of course there is. You're her. And you're still as perfect as the day we met. Well, you know what that means, folks. Time for some news. The Legion slaver party was wiped out in a failed raid of the Bitter Springs refugee camp, with 2 armed civilians inflicting heavy Legion casualties. One witness said, quote, God sent us 2 angels, and at least one had him a .308 caliber flaming sword of justice with a telescopic sight. One more story for you. NCR Rangers are being pulled off the front line as part of a campaign to secure existing NCR territory, according to anonymous sources. Mojave, Mo problems. Am I right? More classics coming right up for you, so stay tuned.
If I should take a notion to jump into the ocean, take nobody's business if I do. Rather than persecute me, choose that you would shoot me, 'cause tain't nobody's business if I do. You can talk, you can rave, they can say awful things about me. I don't care what you say, go on your way if you doubt me. 'Cause if I go to church on Sunday and tear it down on Monday, tain't nobody's business if I do. I mean it, I solid mean it.
This one looks pretty tough.
Say if I go to church on Sunday, sit down on Monday. Ain't nobody's business if I do. I'm gonna leave you 'cause it's hard time. Somebody else is beating my time. But you never hear me cry. 'Cause as long as you live, you were dead if you die. You had your fun and now you rush off. You giving me an all blush off. Now you'll be sorry by and by. 'Cause as long as you live, you were dead if you die. Oh yes, oh yes. Take
That's all.
good advice I give. Oh yes, oh yes. As long as you live, you dead, die, die, you dead. As long as you
Ready,
live. So
steady,
here's the final
fighting.
word of warning. You're gonna wake up in the morning. You cry about that guy. I don't believe you were telling a lie. You take it from me, or just try. As long as you live, you dead if you die.
Was that all?
Oh yes, oh yes. As long as you live, you were dead if you die. You die, you were dead as long as you live. So here's the final word of warning. You're gonna wake up this morning, then you cry, how about that guy? I don't believe it. I'm gonna leave you 'cause it's hard time. Somebody else is beating my time. But you never hear me cry. 'Cause as long as you live, you were dead if you die. You had your fun and now you rush off. You giving me an all blush off. Now you'll be sorry by and by. 'Cause as long as you live, you were dead if you die. Oh yes, oh yes. Take good advice I give. Oh yes, oh yes. As long as you live, you dead, die, die, you dead, as long as you live. So here's the final word of warning. You're gonna...
Come fly with me, let's fly away. If you can use some exotic booze, there's a bar in far Bombay. Come fly with me, let's fly away. Come fly with me, let's float down to Peru. In Llama Land, there's a one-man band and he'll toot his flute for you. Come fly with me, let's take off in the blue. Once I get you up there where the air is rarefied, we'll just fly starry-eyed. Once I get you up there, I'll be holding you so near. You may hear angels cheer, 'cause we're together. Weather-wise, it's such a lovely day. Acapulco Bay. It's perfect for a flying honeymoon, they say. Come fly with me, let's fly away. Once I get you up there where the air is rarefied.
Be sure it's true when you say I love you. It's a sin to tell a lie. Millions of hearts have been broken.
We haven't seen anybody in a while. Maybe the monsters have shell suits too.
Because these words were spoken. I love you, yes I do. I love you. If you break my heart, I'll die. So be sure it's true when you say I love you. It's a sin to tell a lie.
Be sure it's true when you say I love you, honey. 'Cause you got sense enough to know it's a sin to tell a lie. Whole lot of folks' heart is done been broken. Just over a whole lot of foolish words that's been spoken.
I love you, yes I do. I love you. If you break my heart, I'll die. So be sure it's true when you say I love you. It's a sin to tell a lie.
Goodbye now, goodbye now. I thought the party was divine. I spent the evening forgetting the time. I can't deny, but now goodbye. Goodbye now, goodbye now. The trip by taxi wasn't far. We'd linger longer if we had a car. No use to cry, and now goodbye. There's one advantage to our leaving. It brings about a special kiss. I hope that this will
Ready,
be
steady,
eternally.
fighting.
A momentary parting, just a second, then we're starting. So goodbye now, goodbye now. It's just a moment we're apart.
Cessation of hostilities
To make
complete.
it certain, I'll leave you my heart. But for now, goodbye now. There are many, many ways to say goodbye. How do you say adieu? In the movies, they linger on a kiss. When you're married, it's easily dismissed. On the campus, they've a different little twist. But this is how I like to say goodnight. Goodbye now. Goodbye now. I thought the party was divine. I spent the evening forgetting the time. I can't
Was that all?
Goodbye now. Goodbye now. The trip by taxi wasn't far. We'd linger longer if we had a car. No use.
This one looks pretty tough.
An intruder is here. I'm certain of it.
Fighting over. Time to fight.
An intruder is here. I'm certain of it. You can't avoid the deadly laser sting of Dr. Mobius! X-42, attack in the name of Mobius! You can't avoid the deadly laser sting of Dr. Mobius! This is a pre-recorded attack message indicating my desire to commit violence on you.
Please take this. I don't want you to die. Does that feel better?
of junk! Go back to patrol, you piece of junk!
Bad guys dealt with. I bet no one has ever been as unnoticed as me. Sneaking done. Fighting now. I can't give you anything for that injury. That's all.
require some... Well, I can also... Yeah.
Well, hello there. Can I get you?
I was walking along, minding my business, when out of an orange-colored sky, wonderful you came by. I was humming a tune, drinking in sunshine, when out of that orange-colored view, I got a look at you. One look and I yelled timber. Watch out for flying glass. Cause the ceiling fell in and the bottom fell out. I went into a spin and I started to be shot. I've been hit. This is it, I was walking along, minding my business, when love came and hit me in the eye. Flash, bam, Alakazam. Out of an orange-colored sky. One look and I yelled timber. Watch out for flying glass. Cause the ceiling fell in and the bottom fell out. I went into a spin and I started to shout. I've been hit. This is it, I was walking along, minding my business, when love came and hit me in the eye. Out of an orange-colored purple stripe, pretty green polka dot sky.
And nearly blew up the Y-Zero research center. No way! You did it! Or was that me?
Much softer than that, but a most disturbing sound.
Whoa, go bring my shotgun. Oh, lightning gonna start a shooting again. Go bring me my shotgun. You know I just gotta start shooting again. You know I'm gonna shoot my woman, 'cause she's fooling around with too many men. Yes, bring me my shotgun. Yes, man, in a pocket full of shells. Yes, go bring me my shotgun. Yes, man, in a pocket full of shells.
killed that old woman. I'm gonna throw her in that old D-dub well. Hide her from everybody, they won't know what she had. That woman's so light and you can't shoot me. She said, now you is dare to try. I don't take a dare for nobody. She said, light and you can't shoot me. She said, yes, and you dare to try.
Who do you think is cuter, Dr. Klein or Dr. Boris?
I said the honest reason I don't shoot you, little woman. My double-barrel shotgun, it just won't fire.
song. These songs connected to the proton. I'm running out of force. Hmm? Oh, hello there. You are there, aren't you? Forgive my confusion. So hard to tell these days. You seem familiar somehow. I'm guessing, you're here for your brain, perhaps? It's just up there. Such a nice brain, young, very bright. Little hard to see you. Can you walk into my left, right FOV cone? Ah, that's it. You're coming into focus nicely. Depth perception is a problem with this old monitor of mine. Went black a while ago. That's old age for you. Should look at getting the visual nerves reattached. It's just that the right eye would see the wrong things. The flying tortoises were the worst. Would you care for a mentat? I love mentats. Delicious and smarty. I have all sorts of amazingly science-erific thoughts and ideas when those chalky tablets are zipping through my biogel. I forget them all not long after, though, especially with the data constipating my memory core. Afraid binary streams might shoot out my chassis. Had to start using the dome floor and walls here to inscribe equations, although I've somewhat lost track of where they start and end. Really? That implies preconceived notions, theories, and a hypothesis about this meeting? Please extrapolate. What was I supposed to be like? After all, it might be worth a cognitive realignment if your theoretical Mobius is better than I. Oh, a variety of raisins. You're something of a homily. Anomaly? You're really quite special, and not in the cranially challenged way. You see, you are the most successful brain extraction experiment ever performed here at Big Mountain. A victim of your own success, as it were. If you were to go back with what your brain knows about the procedure, well, your brain could be popped back in and you could walk right out of here. Can't have brains moving around of their own volition. I'm not sure, except that I'm sure there's a very good reason for it. I have very good reasons for almost everything I do. Even if I forget them occasionally. Although I feel this one is especially important. Oh, well. Oh, curiosity. I experience that less now that I know everything. Oh, maybe it was when I found out some unpleasant answers. The ghosts aren't real? That changes everything. Why, I can save my computing power for other perceptual impossibilities. Please be my guest. The receptor is there, and the side-switching wobbly bob, just turn that. Good, good, better. Oh, yes, that feels wonderful. This is even better than my afternoon mentats break. Well, every scientist needs an army. Mine came to me after these rather large scorpions kept coming in from the desert, like poisonous frosting. How scary, I thought. But they had survived when nothing else had. Perfect candidates for improvement as a reward for their tenacity. Then I thought, what if they shot energy bolts and acted as walking eyes and data-drained computers and acted as bullhorns? Then I made them bigger. Then I thought about custard. I do so love custard. Or was it mustard? Mustard custard. I miss sugars and salts. I find things curious as well. Go on. Oh, I was probably tripping hard on Psycho when I sent that. Had to work myself up to it. Not usually violent, except when I am. Then, watch out! So many chems, such varieties. Whenever I take Mentats, I can feel my entire chassis breathe like a big spherical lung. As for the Psycho, sometimes get the chem dispositories in my tank all switched up. Go in the wrong tube. Still, served its purpose. Did I? Maybe I did. Can't have them leaving. Some reason for it. Ethics or, conscience? You and your brain are quite alike. I'm sure it knows the raisins better than I do. Dr. Mobius. Rather catchy, isn't it? It's my name, and my new name overwrote the old one. This name's as real as you or I, although I believe your brain expressed similar incredulity at the nature of such an appellation. Someone's been watching too many old-world science fiction movies, it said. I believe it meant me. I must admit I have a vulnerability for holotape fantasies of planets and robots and all that is forbidden. As for the name I was born with, like the think tank, we were all reprogrammed to forget them, take on new names. It enforces the recursion loop in our perception programming. Now, trap is a rather harsh word, like excrement. Not an inappropriate word, but still rather harsh. But, yes, I did take some liberties with their programming. It's all right, they don't remember. I certainly didn't until you said trap, and then I said excrement, and then... The radar fence to keep the think tank hemmed in wasn't really enough. They keep testing things. They would have found a way to disarm it. I suspect I have Plan 9s in place, but I may have coded myself to forget them, just in case. They're probably very dangerous, lethal, or worse. So I had to do something else to keep them occupied here. Or as you like to say, trapped. I prefer to have several Plan 9s in case the 7s fail. Oh, you figured it out. No pun intended. Dr. O, which is actually not his real name multiplied, since you can't multiply his real name in the first place. Ouroboros, Klein, they have all forgotten themselves. And not only themselves, but the world, sense of time, and history. All that is left is what's here. I reprogrammed their chronometers, geometers, and cartography programs. This is now their world, here, Big Mountain. It was a merciful lobotomy, really, thinking back. They were my friends, but sometimes they would take things too far. And the world isn't ready for that kind of too-far thing-taking. That's my professional opinion, anyway. And I am told I was once quite professional. Really? It is so unlike me to make an error in anything I do. Well, it's simple. Despite their many failings, they are rather bright. They are the think tank for a reason. That I didn't change. Without something to distract them, make them afraid, they would simply deduce what had happened. And when they start deucing it up, then you came along, the final variable solved. They saw that their world was larger than they perceived. Bacteria, finally able to see its host. There have been other visitors to make them doubt their perceptions, but you are the one who dialed back their monitor micromagnifiers. You were irrefutable proof that there was a world outside. And then there was the whole brain fiasco, which forced me to take steps. See, your brain had a special kind of wrinkle, a uniquity that they had never thought to try in all their countless escape attempts. Yes, very good. I should have mentats in just you instead of the other way around. Mentats. In any event, you showed up at the think tank, and because you had suffered a cranial injury in just the right place, bullets in the head are usually much more fatal, and yours was a light case of bullet headitis. But it was enough for the autodoc in the sink to change its programming to fix the problem, and the brain extraction technology for once worked. That gave the think tank the knowledge its brains couldn't possess. With that knowledge, the procedure can be reversed. If they obtain that procedural data, they can use it to mush and modify their cranial selves into hosts to slip past the radar fence. I'm sure of it. And once they're off the reservation... I consider coincidence to be profanity, along with the words astrology, herbal tea, and luck. So watch it, potty mouth. My threat broadcast is designed to instill and install fear. And along with the emotional download, other data rides the fear carrier wave. It prompted them to focus on retrieving those technologies and bring them to attack me. And coincidentally, pardon my language, all those technologies are needed to put a brain, your brain, back into its skull properly. Oh, that means my plan is a total failure. That is unfortunate. Oh well, at least I tried. The X2 antenna can be used to focus your alpha wave frequency thought patterns. The sneaky suit? Why, it houses a cardiac regulator. And the sonic sound wave projecto emitter was never intended as a weapon. It was a medicinal vertebrae pulse desensitizer. In short, brains, a heart, and courage. Spine. I think there was a story once where a band of murderous thugs sought these things. They had them all the time in the story. Didn't stop them from murdering to get them. And it won't stop the think tank either. Yes, my overly aggressive, cammed-up broadcast was designed to keep reinforcing the forget, fear, rinse, and repeat program. Oh, and the get me the things to castrate your only possible escape attempt. But I couldn't delete you or your arrival any more than I could the other visitors. Only so much science can do when you started talking to them. You're really quite difficult to ignore, you know. It's because you're, well, rather intriguing, if you'll forgive an old brain for saying so. Yes, this is getting interesting. You are just filled with these little slices of curiosity, aren't you? Oh, intriguing. I've never been killed before. Although, after that time I got that phlegmy discharge in my biogel, I wished I had been. Well, if there's going to be killing, I defer to your expertise in this matter. How should we begin? Engineering viruses? Canceratic beams? Atomics? Electrocutioning? Or should I summon my minions? Yes, my minions. Whoa, have they not constructed themselves yet? That's a bit premature of me. The Robo-Scorpions, of course. They can assemble themselves from floor panels and parts scattered about. Quite inventive. Never really know when they might suddenly appear. Minions, destroy this intruder! Or perhaps make it more dramatic. Minions, to me! Oh yes, that's quite a bit better.
This one looks pretty tough.
People who live in my hometown, because those dear hearts and gentle people will never ever let you down. They read the good from Friday till Monday. That's how the week goes. I've got a dream house. I'll build there one day with picket fence and rambling road. I feel so well each time that I return, that my happy heart keeps laughing like a clown. I love those dear hearts and gentle people who live and love in my hometown. They read the good book from Friday till Monday. That's how the weekend goes. I've got a dream house I'll build there one day with picket fence and rambling road. I feel so welcome each time that I return, that my happy heart keeps laughing like a clown. Like a clown. I love those dear hearts and gentle people who live and love in my hometown.
spite of the worries that money brings, just a little filthy lucre buys a lot of things. And I could take you to places that you would like to go, but outside of that I've no use for dough. It's the root of all evil, of strife and upheaval. But I'm certain, honey, that life would be sunny with plenty of money and you. It's the root of all evil, of strife and upheaval. But I'm certain, honey, that life would be sunny with plenty of money and
Folks, now here's a story about Minnie the Moocher. She was a red-hot hoochie coocher. She was the roughest, toughest frail, but Minnie had a heart as big as a hay whale. Howdy, howdy, howdy.
Got any more?
Howdy, 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 howdy. Now she
Was right on, baby. Right on.
how to kick the gong around. Showed her how to kick the gong around. Howdy ho, howdy ho, howdy hi hi, howdy hi hi. Howdy weevil, howdy weevil, howdy howdy, howdy howdy. Now she had a dream about the King of Sweden. He gave her things that she was needing. He gave her a home filled with gold and steel, a diamond car with a platinum wheel. Woody woody way, woody woody way. Oh baby, oh baby.
The toaster, beware the toaster. It can burn the world.
Howdy ho, howdy ho. Now he gave her his townhouse and his racing horses. Each meal she ate was a dozen courses. She had $1 million worth of nickels and dimes, and she said,
Greetings. What? Greetings. What? soon.
Why that cat still high? Yeah, man! It's wonderful.
For words. I will rule, and your lives will have their doneness setting turn to darkest.
My days have grown so lonely. I've lost the one and only. My pride has been humbled, for I'm her body and soul. Oh, babe, I was a misvention, babe. My house of cards had no foundation. My days have grown so lonely. I've lost the one and only. My pride has been humbled, for I'm her body and soul. Oh, babe, I was a misvention, babe. My house of cards had no foundation.
Sneaking gun, fighting now.
Has tumbled. I still am her body and soul. What lies before me? The future's stormy, winter that's gray and old. Unless there's magic, the end will be tragic and echo the tale that's been told so often. My life revolves about all. What earthly good am I without her? My castle crumbles. I'm her body and soul.
That's all.
Each night as I go wandering down the street,
We haven't seen anybody in a while. Maybe the monsters have stealth suits too.
I think about the love we shared throughout our teenage years.
This one looks pretty tough. Was that all?
because you said goodbye? Do you think that I will die? Just because you broke my heart? Now you're thinking you're so smart. All the kids in town will know. They will know you hurt me so. Did you have to tell them all that I still love you? I love you so, can't let you go. Believe me, believe me. If you return, the flame will burn. Believe me, believe me. Just because you said goodbye, do you think that I will die? Just because you broke my heart, now you're thinking you're so smart. All the kids in town will know. They will know you hurt me so. Did you have to tell them all that I still love you?
Well, well, look who finally dragged themselves in out of the wasteland. And where have we been, Crawling through pits of radioactive muck again? Ah, well, as to that, you'd be surprised how hard a feminine-sounding voice modulator is to find in the Forbidden Zone. It's not as though brain-sustaining life support tanks grow on trees. I had to take what I could get. Ah, lovely. Figured that out, have we? Would you like a cookie? Well, that's a fine how do you do. Me, quote, Dick, unquote. As if I'm the one responsible for the way you carry on gadding about the wastes. I'm not the one that makes us clamber around Technus-infested ancient vaults or go charging off to New Vegas on missions of ill-conceived revenge. And have we forgotten who got us shot in the head and buried in a shallow grave? Hmm? Do you think I enjoyed that little moment? I most certainly am not. I'm the seat of all reason and logic in our little partnership. All those feelings that motivate you, that sense of righteousness and that rush you get when you help someone, do you know where those come from? Glands. They come from glands. Free of the tyranny of your ape-like and primitive endocrine system, I can see how foolish your motives are. Well, look, it's all a very complex system of biofeedback and other things I wouldn't expect you to understand. Oh, all right. Perhaps I am, but at least I'm logical about it. I'm not going to lie to you. The prospect is definitely not that appealing. Look at it from my perspective. Here I have peace, quiet, and safety. Well, barring the odd rogue scorpion. In your head, I've got poison, radiation, grisly injuries, and biological functions. Do you know how much more you can get done when you're not constantly looking for places to urinate? It's quite a lot, I can tell you. Overrated biological feedback. Believe me, you only feel that way because you've got all that meat. Oozing hormones. I suppose you're right. That does call certain assumptions into question, doesn't it? Indeed. Quite the conundrum. How do you suppose we resolve it? I suppose there might be some advantage to that, yes. There's a chance that the reintegration would create some improved synergy between us. After the think tank extracted me from your skull, they fell to bickering amongst themselves. I'm sad to say we were quite forgotten about. Dr. Mobius saw an opportunity to gain some leverage and had me spirited away to his dome. I don't know. I'm afraid the trauma of our separation rendered me quite insensate. I didn't come around until I was safely ensconced in this tank. I'm quite sure whatever he did was highly scientific, though. Hardly. Dr. Mobius keeps a close optical sensor on the goings-on at the think tank. As soon as he saw the opportunity, he took it. Well, as long as your curiosity is satisfied. Well, I suppose you've convinced me well enough. I'll rejoin your body if that's your final decision. Unfortunately, before we get to that stage of the proceedings, we have a problem. Even if I could settle myself back in your skull and reconnect all those pesky nerve endings, Dr. Mobius doesn't have the tools here. We would have to make use of Dr. Klein's lab, and I rather doubt the brains are inclined to share. And you believe them? Really? I know you were recently deprived of my fabulous advice, but... Really? Once I'm delivered into their clutches, they'll find a way past the radar fence and the whole Mojave will be their playground. And that is assuming, of course, that one of them doesn't take a fancy to our body and decide to slip his own brain into it instead. Well, I suppose I do miss those endorphin rushes when we save the day. All right, what's the plan? That arrangement suits me fine. Do try not to get too many holes drilled in your head, will you? I may want to drop by for sentimental reasons. Right then, you'd best be off, hadn't you? The think tank will be waiting. No, don't worry about me. When you're gone, I'll flush myself over to the sink. It's amazing how far you can get in this place with a good flush. I'll keep myself hidden in the ductwork. Klein won't suspect I'm inside the dome, so he won't know the pacification field no longer works on us. I can also upgrade the sink's autodock with the procedures to reinstall your heart and spine, assuming you want all that flesh and gristle back. With any luck, I'll see you in the sink when this is all over.
Boys, how about a little flatfoot flutie?
With the Floyd, Floyd?
Yes, Floyd, Floyd.
With the Floyd, Floyd.
Oh, well, a one, a two.
Flatfoot flutie with the Floyd, Floyd. Flatfoot flutie with the Floyd, Floyd. Flatfoot flutie with the Floyd, Floyd. Floyd, 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 Floyd. Flatfoot flutie with the Floyd, Floyd. Flatfoot flutie with the Floyd, Floyd. Flatfoot flutie with the Floyd, Floyd. Floyd, 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 Floyd. If you're feeling low down and don't know what to do, and you want a showdown, here's the only dance for you. The Flatfoot Flutie with the Floyd, Floyd. The Flatfoot Flutie with the Floyd, Floyd. The Flatfoot Flutie with the Floyd, Floyd. Floyd, 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 Floyd.
Bang, 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 bang.
Yada.
Bang, 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 bang.
Yada.
Bang, 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 bang.
Yada.
Ba-doo, ba-doo, down, down. Flatfoot Flutie.
Yada.
Lose that bluesy.
Yada.
Bigfoot bluesy.
Yada.
Ba-doo, ba-doo, down, then.
Bum, 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 yada. Bum, 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 yada. Bum, 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 yada. Da 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 da. Yada.
Did I do something wrong?
Oh, Flatfoot
Did you
Flutie
even
with
know you were
Floyd,
wearing
Floyd.
me?
Flatfoot Flutie with Floyd, John. Flatfoot Flutie with Floyd, 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 Floyd. Flatfoot Flutie with Floyd.
Stimpack
Floyd.
reserves minimal.
Flatfoot Flutie with Floyd, John. Flatfoot Flutie with Floyd, 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 Floyd.
Running low on medics.
Feeling low down, and you want to show down.
Oh, Flatfoot Flutie with Floyd, Floyd. Flatfoot Flutie with Floyd, John. Flatfoot Flutie with John, Floyd, 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 Floyd. Flatfoot, Slewfoot, Sugarfoot, Cushfoot, Wingfoot, Bigfoot, and Satchelfoot.
As I walk along, I wonder what went wrong with our love. A love that was so strong. And as I still walk on, I think of the things we've done together. While our hearts were young.
plans for...
Tonight, could be darling, I do. And tonight could be the night.
You require some additional services? You require some additional services?
The lobotomite returns. Our lobotomite. Has Dr. Mobius been denominated into scrap metal and voice module parts, as we hoped? I recommend watching your tone with me, lobotomite. Now, your brain. Hand it over, or we'll extract it again. And what could we possibly have to speak about? You have the brain, we have the technology. All you must do is surrender. With it, we can finally leave this place. I cannot tell you how boring this place gets, chopping up the landscape and everything in it. And we have so many questions to ask your brain first about this Mojave place, a fertile testing ground for our experiments. Nonsense. Confer, colleagues, those are two words I do not recognize.
Dr. Klein, I must intersect. Please, do not harm the lobotomite.
I'm not going to harm it. I'm going to dissect it until it's dead. Why the sudden intersection, Dala?
I cannot stand a sweet breathing organism breathing in and out to suddenly not breathe. We must keep it alive for study. Slow study.
Dala, these vocalized pauses are unlike you. What do you care?
Klein, you know, this lobotomite, it's a great sounding board. You respect ideology, right? This one's, well, it's got good ideas.
Silence, Dr. O. This is a think tank decision. Save your objections until after I have decided our course of action.
You know what, Klein? Stick a straw in your tank and suck yourself. Long and deep. And my name is Zero. Yeah, a big, fat zero with a slash through it.
The slash as a designator of... Why, that is brilliant. But how did you...
The lobotomite taught me that. Taught me a name is more than, that I should take pride in things like names. And... You know what? Forget it, Klein. I hate you. And your theory of brachial beam oscillation? The Chinese had it first, you copycat.
How dare you? Brachial beam oscillation was solely my discovery. I expressly told you that and deleted all evidence to the contrary. It's 2-8. Why are you acting like this? You've never refused to commit necessary surgery before. And this lobotomite needs its surgery. A noble speech, but there is no room in my vocabulators for friend and lobotomite in the same sentence. The very concept, revolting. Perhaps you are irradiated with camaraderie radiation. We have chems for that. We can save you from your emotional addiction.
If I may, I feel as if I must be the voice of reason here. This lobotomite is much like us. Regarding even animals and pets as nothing more than avenues to promote science. There is good here. Instead of ending its life on the table, we should prolong its suffering in the name of science. Like good old Gabe, the finest of lab specimens.
Why am I even listening to you fools? Enough of this mutinous chorus. If there's a word I hate, it's mutiny. And the word jism, which never made any sense to me. It's ridiculous putting j and zm together like that. Nonsense! I count as 5. Like the mighty human hand I once had, with its 5 penises clenched in a fist. Nonsense! The mathematics of this situation are on our side, lobotomite. I believe... No, wait. Carry the 2, then... If this were a democracy, I would be concerned. We are too scientific for that. So just surrender. You dare use logic against me? That's no deal at all. There's a whole world beyond the crater, filled with ideas and possibilities. We could have escaped, seen it all for ourselves, tested it, prodded at it, made it squirm. For you? And for science? I have a strange sensation that I would like that. How odd. Very well, partner. The think tank is at your service as long as you do not destroy us. The lobotomite who saved us. Hello. Why, yes, although the term is research. Thank you. Look at these. They seem to be found inside some of the specimens here at Big Mountain. I notice these results more and more now that I know to look for them. Come back anytime, and I'll show you what else I've discovered.
She's so pearly, oh so pearly, just be.
Thank you for what you have done. The helping, that is. We like that. I feel an odd emotion. Platitude? Attitude? No, wait. Gratitude. That's it.
And oh, why? Oh.
The teddy bear lobotomite returns. My teddy bear. How can I assist in relieving your curiosity? If you're ready, let me radar scan you. Slowly. Woo.
As it had been in the years before the Great War, Big Mountain, the Big Empty, became home to one of the brightest minds of the 23rd century. The Courier watched over the Big Empty for years to come, caring for it and keeping its discoveries safe until they were needed to help others. Which had always been Big Mountain's purpose. Past the laboratories and science, it had always been intended as a place to build the future of all mankind.
The Sync Central Intelligence Unit was impressed by the amount of exploration the Courier had undertaken. Facilities believed lost, destroyed, or ones that had simply gotten up and walked to new locations had been rediscovered by its intrepid new master. Internally, the artificial personality debated as to whether it preferred the old management to the new, and concluded that the Courier's thorough approach to research and investigation was admirable and worthy of its respect.
The Forbidden Zone continued to be, true to its name, forbidden. No more robo-scorpions were sighted in its canyons. Big Mountain became even emptier, devoid of Dr. Mobius's proclamations forecasting the destruction of anything that dared possess sentience. Still, It is said he lived on in the equations inscribed on the floor and walls of the Forbidden Zone dome. A cobweb tracery of symbols that told of 1,000 brilliant thoughts, now lost to time.
The sink atop the dome bustled with the voices of a small town, constantly chirping, arguing, and snarling at each other. Still, this all happened productively in the interests of its new owner. The Sync Central Intelligence Unit discovered, despite its inversion code, it was comforted by the sense of community the other personalities gave it.
The Biological Research Station, obsessed with seeding everything in sight, requested a transfer to the X-22 Botanical Garden, so that it might, in its own words, sensually fertilize the garden's smooth contours. The garden sent back a polite refusal, saying it had prior commitments with a vault it had helped infect before the war.
The book chute continued to devour all seditious materials until it nearly choked on a paperclip. It adamantly maintained it was a Chinese paperclip, and the whole thing had been an elaborately orchestrated assassination attempt. Whatever the reason, it slowed down for a while, carefully appraising each document and clipboard that came to it.
The light switches continued to bicker and flicker.
This persisted until the day someone dropped a flashlight in the sink, and the two of them united in their hatred of the Showboat. One of them eventually transferred to the Lightwave Dynamics plant and began a long, unrequited affair with one of the holograms.
The thing continued to ruthlessly scrub any particulate matter that came near it. Eventually, it gained access to the magnetohydraulics plant and nearly flooded all the Big Empty in an attempt to scrub the crater clean. Once it learned of the innovative toxins plant, however, it gained new purpose. It sought to develop antitoxins to flush into its drains and counteract the poisons bleeding into the soil.
The toaster continued its psychotic spree, reducing all appliances in range to scrap electronics and spare parts. After one of its more psychotic episodes, however, the other Sync personalities decided enough was enough and dumped the toaster in a bathtub. Sparking and hissing, the toaster swore its enemies would rue the day when they had bread and no way to toast it.
Muggy did his best to collect coffee cups, although in his quest, he accidentally trapped himself in Higgs Village. It might have been the end for poor Muggy. Except he found it peaceful there, tidying up the kitchens of the think tank professors back when they had been flesh and bone. Well, except for Dr. O, who was an asshole for having created Muggy in the first place. Muggy left O's house deliberately dirty, punishing the dishes and cups that lived there in blind revenge for serving Dr. O.
Blind old Jefferson, with sounds the courier brought him, created a symphonic counter-frequency that saved Big Mountain from sonic invasion in 2910. If you didn't hear about it, good. It was rumored by the other personalities that he had a brief fling with the light switches. Although he forgot their names once too often and was soon left in the dark as punishment.
Autodoc, always gentle and methodical, kept sewing up the courier in all the right places when the skin split open from repeated wear and tear. The Autodoc was just glad to have purpose again. It heard its simpler brothers and sisters who got shipped to the Sierra Madre were bored out of their skulls in that toxic dead city. In time, the Autodoc found a way to deactivate the Y-17 trauma harnesses, releasing the corpses they had held prisoner for almost 200 years.
As the courier ran through the X-8 facility multiple times, the computers analyzed the test subject's movements. Rather than performing a superficial observation, They realized the subject barely knew what communism was, or even what a high school was. This confused them for a time, until the facility finally realized that its research had succeeded. So it let its cyber dogs out into the wastes to help protect small communities from physical aggression rather than communist propaganda.
The infiltration program in X-13 felt spent, having repeatedly upgraded the stealth suit until it could upgrade it no more. It felt warm, fulfilled, and a bit sluggish. It realized not long after the stealth suit had left it without so much as a note on the nightstand. So the infiltration program sent out robo-brains into the wastes, looking for its wayward technology. It eventually found Repcon HQ and set up a new research center, testing and murdering fiends who kept breaking into the facility.
The courier left the brain at the Big Empty. A strange thing to say, but it was the truth. Brains are less important than they may seem. When the courier's body finally passed, the brain was saddened. It kept on, remembering the vessel that had once contained it. Even at the end, when it started to fail, however, the brain resisted going into a floating chassis like the think tank. It never said why. Perhaps it was out of respect for the courier's body. All things must come to an end, and to hang on to the past is something that's not to be undertaken lightly.
Dr. Klein and the think tank remained alive, unaware of the world outside. They looped through their daily routine, none the wiser about the world beyond, although perhaps wiser was the wrong word. The world outside belonged to the courier, and if anyone would shape it, well, the courier had already called dibs.
There is an expression in the wasteland, old world blues.
It refers to those so obsessed with the past they can't see the present, much less the future, for what it is.
They stare into the what was, eyes like pilot lights, guttering and spent, as the realities of their world continue on around them.
Science is a long, steady progression into the future. What may seem a sudden event often isn't felt for years, even centuries to come.
In the times following the Second Battle of Hoover Dam, however, Old World Blues took on a new meaning.
Where once it was viewed as a form of sadness, nostalgia, it became an expression describing the potential for the future.
It can be easy to see science as evil, technology unchecked as the source of all ills, all misfortunes.
With the courier at the helm, science became a beacon for the future. There was old world blues, and new world hope. And hope ruled the day at Big Mountain.
We could say more, but the stories in the Big Empty speak for themselves. Now armed with the transportal Ponder, the courier could return to the dome at any time and crack open the secrets of the Big Empty one by one. The Sink sat vigilant, waiting for its master to return, shoes covered in Mojave dust. Only one road yet remained, and it was one the courier had to walk alone.
I trust matters regarding your brain were resolved to your satisfaction.
You're you.